Hey guys, welcome back to my channel, and this video is very important. I have a lot of knowledge to drop today. This video is all about what art school failed to teach me. Now, my background. I studied at Parsons for a single year, hated it. I transferred to the Fashion Institute of Technology. I got my associates in fashion illustration and continued my BFA in illustration. A couple years later, I returned to school. I went to the School of Visual Arts for a one-year intensive program for my master's, and I received a degree of art education. So that's a little bit about where I'm coming from. For a lot of my fellow artists, people who went to school with me, particularly in illustration, you know, it's not easy being an artist and breaking into the art field, and a lot of us struggled for a very long time. And, you know, meeting up with them again and having conversations about what we wish we had learned in school, why didn't they teach us this, this, and that? School is very different from the real world, you know? And, you know, I strongly believe that you can learn certain skills as an artist, not necessarily needing to go to college, that you can learn this in other environments and be very successful. I know a lot of people who either dropped out or they didn't get higher education at all, and they're very successful artists, because at the end of the day, it's the portfolio that matters. Okay, so let's get into it, all right? So the first thing that college failed to teach me, color theory. You're thinking, wow, how could they miss this one? Yeah. A lot of that had to do with the fact that I was in fashion illustration and then jumped into general illustration after 2 years. The kids who did have general illustration for the 4 years, they got color theory. Us fashion kids, we got majority of like the drawing skills, fashion, anatomy, a lot more figure drawing than the other kids. So I remember when I had joined the rest of the crew for the general illustration degree, some of the teachers were saying how, you know, we suck at color and we know nothing. And it's like, well, maybe if you taught us, maybe we wouldn't suck. So I think college should be, especially if you're going to an art school, color theory is a foundation. That is a basic. You need to know this. It doesn't matter if you are a painter or you're working with sculpture. Color theory is so important. You can't just pick a color. I like it. You know, how many times you hear that? It's like, why did you pick this color? I like it. You know, colors have relationships with each other, and it's important to understand that so you can create a more effective piece. Okay, number 2, how to get a job. Oh my goodness. We all walked out with these portfolios, the majority of us. We were kind of weak, you know, it wasn't a cohesive look portfolio. And how do we go about getting jobs? The professors weren't necessarily telling us how to go out into the world and do it. A lot of them said to just make up a postcard, send it out to art directors. It was very loose. There was no sense of mentorship. There were no connections to art directors, to people in, you know, either the publishing world or game design, or, you know, there was nothing from the outside world coming in to give us an education of what to expect, what you need to have to go out there and get the job. There was none of that. Number 3, the business side of art. I know what you're thinking, but I'm an artist. I want to draw, I want to paint. I don't care about business. Well, you need to. You need to understand contracts. You need to understand licensing and your rights. You need to understand, after you sell a piece or you get a commission, you know, what then? What is expected of you? What is expected of your client? It's a transaction. it's a business transaction. How about reporting to the IRS on a yearly basis? How do you go about doing that? Do you apply taxes? Things. There's so much to this topic alone, and you really need to understand like the legal side of being an artist, because most likely you start off as a freelancer and you're kind of on your own. We got a very short course. It wasn't even a full semester. It was like a couple of classes to talk about some contracts. There are institutions in place that can help you with all of this, and I'm definitely going to drop some links down below because you got to get educated. Okay? Number 4, think like a brand. Again, you're like, I'm an artist, Jen. I'm not a brand. Oh yeah, you are. Oh yeah, you are. The most successful artists are a brand. I'm not saying they're corporate, I'm not saying they're this big company. Being a brand, all it is consistency. You have a consistency in your style, in your language, what you are putting out there, whether it be your postcards you may be mailing out, your blog, your website, if you're on Instagram or Twitter or Tumblr, it's all consistent. It's all recognizable. It comes back to you. It's a unified look. This really helps potential clients to identify you. If you are consistent, they know what to expect. You become reliable, you become dependable, become someone that they can trust. This topic was never brought up in school whatsoever, not even a mention of it. And maybe brand is more of like a buzzword now, these past maybe 5 years or so. It's been a while since I've been in school. However, this is something that you need to be thinking about. Think like a brand, think unified, one vision, one voice, you. Number 5, how to use social media. And this is a big one, and yeah, I didn't learn this in school. Social media wasn't existent when I was in college. Like Facebook was just coming out, but at the time you had to be a college student in order to have a Facebook account. Didn't learn how to use a website. There were still forums back then. There were plenty of online groups going on. We didn't know how to incorporate the idea of using social media to, get our work out there and start building our reputation. Nowadays, I think it's so vital to have an online presence and very key to growing your client base and, again, your reputation. So those are the 5 major topics art school failed to teach me. So if you are a graduate from school and feel like there was something that you should have learned and didn't, please drop a comment below. I'm curious to hear about your experience. Next week, I'm going to be sharing a video very similar to this about 3 things that art school cannot teach you. So stay tuned for that. Make sure you hit the subscribe button so you can stay up to date with all my videos. If you like this video, give me a thumbs up, and I will see you guys in a future video. Bye.